It all began one dark November morning. From my earliest youth, I had been interested in travel, and shortly after I'd finished my studies, I took a post as doctor on the Antelope, a fine ship in His Gracious Majesty's service, which was about to set sail for the South Seas. Just after we left Talalang, a little port where we'd taken on a cargo of spices, we came into the terrible zone of the winds, and very soon we were rolling in high seas, lashed by a furious wind.
We only needed this fog to make us feel at home. It's as bad as London.
Hurry! To starboard!
The cursed wind's going to throw us straight under that reef. We'll have to try and get around it somehow. All hands on deck!
All hands on deck!
All in the mainsail!
All in the mainsails!
All in the topsails!
All in the topsail!
Hard to port!
Captain, the mizzenmast is down.
Captain, the howl's full of water. Oh, lower the boats.
Lower the boat!
Sail on the sea, our only hope.
I'll never get out of this. I'm exhausted. The ship turned over on us. My friend's gone down. Come on, Gulliver. Don't lose heart like that. You're a powerful swimmer and the shore's not so far off now. I've touched bottom. I'm saved. Oh, what a lovely little beach. There's not a house to be seen. Nobody on the shores, but it doesn't matter. I'm tired out. Oh, sleep. Lie down here on this soft grass.
Akinadigo.
Without knowing it, I had come ashore on the land of Lilliput, a tiny little kingdom where the men are no more than a few inches tall. Later, when I had learned this people's language, I found out just how astonished everyone had been when I made my sudden arrival.
Father, look over there. A mountain has come out of the sea during the night.
Oh, a mountain. Great heavens. What will we do with a mountain like that in our little kingdom?
Father Crompton!
Yes, dear?
I've just walked right round the mountain. Right round.
Right round?
Oh, it was a long walk. There's something very funny about it.
Funny?
It looks a bit like us, and every now and then it moves.
Moves? Oh, quite extraordinary. What sort of animal do you think it could be?
Well, I've sent for Professor Acatinois. He's sure to know. Oh. Here he comes.
Let me see. What's this strange thing that's been discovered?
Oh, but it's very high.
Well, at first glance, I'll even state that it's a very interesting discovery. You are in the presence of a species which is rapidly becoming extinct. This species is known as man. You all know that in our language, man means a degenerate being. Notice the various stages of this degeneration. The limbs have become fat and long. The head is far too big for the small brain it contains. Yes, these creatures who used to exist thousands of years ago left the earth to go to The moon. This must be a fossil which has been preserved by accident and thrown up on our shore by last night's storm.
Professor, it's moving.
My friends, if this creature's alive, you must watch out for the most terrible catastrophes. They're a terrible race. You must fix him to the ground quickly before he wakes up.
Hold in that rope there. A little more over here.
Give me a little bit of that rope, please. Please, now heave.
Of course, I heard nothing at all of these Lilliputian goings-on, as I was in a deep sleep, and in any case, I didn't understand the language at the time. When I awoke, I found myself trussed up like a turkey and firmly fixed to the ground. Now come, let me see. I'm tied down, but I don't suppose these bonds are very secure. I'll just pull with my right hand and see what happens. Oh! Oh, there must be 1,000 little arrows sticking into me. Horrible little men. Oh, my hand's hurting me as if I'd been stung by a viper. It's lucky that I kept on my leather jerkin. The best thing for me to do is to lie still. That's better. Things have calmed down a bit, but there's still a lot of movement over there. Oh, I see. They're sending one of their men over. He's on a little tower on wheels. He's just on a level with my eyes. He's wearing a crown. He must be the king. What's he saying? I'll try and reply. Langro Dehel San, Your Highness. Oh, Your Highness seemed to shock him. I'd better try something else. Your Lowliness, Langro Dehel. I don't know what on earth to say to the little man. He seems to be annoyed at everything I say. All right, I'll try to be humble. Your illustrious majesty, I am your servant, your most lowly servant. All right, I agree, your majesty, but I haven't had anything to eat for 24 hours. Now, how on earth am I going to explain that to him? I have to show him with my hands, that's all. Hungry. Eat. Yum. Eat. He seems to have understood. He's getting down from his little tower now, and he's giving orders. He certainly seemed to be having some effect. From what I heard later, my first meal in Lilliput was something that the people will never forget.
His Majesty has given orders that a meal should be taken to the prisoner Man Mountain. Would you be kind enough to make the necessary arrangements?
Very well, Your Highness. What am I to do? Lord High Officer of His Majesty's Footmen, would you be kind enough to tell the Lord High Officer of the Mouth what His Majesty has requested?
Feed that monster. It's impossible. There's only one thing for me to do. That's to ask the help of His Majesty's Lord High Officer of the Kitchen.
Yes. I heard your instructions, Your Highness. I have to give all the food from the royal kitchen to the Man Mountain. I have spent 22 years in this honorable calling, and it's the first time I've been asked to undertake such a lowly task. A task unworthy of the illustrious art of the mouth.
Now, don't be angry and don't let us down. You're the only person who is capable of taking on such a responsibility.
Very well. I agree, Your Highness. But you must leave me free to do exactly as I wish.
Your request is granted. We leave it entirely to you to get us out of our difficult situation.
In that case, members of the kitchen staff, go to your ovens, and may every able-bodied person in this kingdom help us in this task.
Look, Grandma, they've put some ladders against his shoulder, and there's a chain of people bringing the baskets of food.
Do you know, That's the 500th leg of lamb he's eating.
Oh, it's not possible. How can you feed such a monster?
Be careful there, for heaven's sake, don't spill kidney beans. Oh, the monster's thirsty. Bring up more barrels of wine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, what a throat he's got. I'm sure he could swallow the sea.
Let me see. 500 legs of lamb at 3 an arpa each. That makes 1,500 an arpa. 1 cartload of lettuce, 60 an arpa. 120 small loaves, 40 an arpa. 5 barrels of wine, that makes 900 an arpa. So altogether we have 1,500, 1,560, 1,600, 2,500. 2,500 an arpa? Oh, I must have made a mistake. No, I was right. 2,500 an arpa. Great how. This man's a bottomless pit. He's going to ruin us. Oh, we must hold a state council right away.
Well, Lord Chamberlain, have my orders been carried out?
Yes, Your Majesty, we have poured a sleeping draught into the prisoner's wine.
Good. Is he firmly fixed now?
Oh, yes, Your Majesty. The master blacksmiths in the capital have made 91 chains, and they fixed these to the prisoner's legs. The chains are held by 36 locks each.
Excellent. Members of the council, you have been in session since this morning to decide on the necessary measures concerning our prisoner. I would be glad to hear what you propose.
Your Majesty, we regret to tell you that we can't come to any agreement on this matter.
No, Your Majesty,
Very well, we'll have to hear from each of you. In turn, Lord High Admiral.
Your Majesty, I have no doubt in my mind of what must be done to this animal, no doubt at all. He must be driven out of the kingdom as soon as possible.
In other words, you're going to leave him free to come back again and destroy the whole of Lilliput.
But we can't feed him. You've heard the evidence of the Lord High Officer of the Mouth. We are heading for famine. Famine, gentlemen, famine, I tell you.
Well, there's no problem then. We let him die of starvation.
I've got a better idea. Let's fire poisoned arrows at him. It's much quicker that way.
But we are heading for
Gentlemen, order, please. What if we do let him die? Professor. Your Majesty, I must draw your attention to the dangers that such a solution involves. Such a big corpse could be very embarrassing, and we couldn't bury it, and the risk of disease would be very great.
Let's throw him into the sea.
You know perfectly well that the tide would simply bring him back again.
Well, that's what you say.
Well, the situation seems very difficult.
Your Majesty.
What is it, Lord High Chamberlain?
The officer who's in charge of the guard set over the Man Mountain wants to make his report.
Let him come forward.
Your Majesty, I have news for you, almost incredible news. It really seems as though this Man Mountain has a heart, just like we Lilliputians have.
Huh?
It is moved by feelings of goodness.
Really?
Yes, Your Majesty. As soon as the news of his arrival had spread round the country, a large crowd of Lilliputians came to see him. In spite of all my guards, a number of foolhardy men managed to climb right up on his nose. Oh, Your Majesty, you should have seen the way his enormous hands came down to pick them up, 5 at a time. The crowd screamed with horror, and my soldiers were on the point of charging to come to the rescue of our unfortunate countrymen. When we saw the Man Mountain, bring them close up to his face, look at them carefully, then put them on the ground, gently.
Oh, this is most interesting. So he didn't do those fools any harm at all. He didn't even squeeze them a little between his fingers.
Oh, no, Your Majesty. The whole crowd can witness to that.
You see then, members of the council, that this is no monster we have to deal with, and it would be unworthy of our Lilliputian hospitality to allow any harm to come to him.
But, Your Majesty, the problem of food still remains.
This problem can very easily be solved on a national cooperative basis. Every morning,
Each village will bring 6 cows and 40 sheep to the royal kitchens. They will also bring bread and wine. The royal treasury will see to any other expenses. One of the first things to see to is that our guests should be clothed in the style of our country. 300 tailors must start the task of making him a suit straight away. In addition, 6 of our best teachers must instruct him in our language. Later, I shall talk to the Man Mountain myself. Gentlemen, the meeting is closed.
Give me my liberty.
You'll have to wait for that. You've got to earn our confidence first, and don't get angry when I give the order for you to be searched. You might have dangerous weapons on you.
All right. I'll pick up the officers myself. Here they are. Now, I'll put them in my pockets. Gentlemen, make yourselves at home. Search as much as you like.
I can see a large number of curious objects.
So can I. There's a big box here. I'd like to open it. Oh, curse it!
What happened to you?
You oughtn't to have opened my snuff box. Your noses are too delicate.
It's treachery unworthy of a gentleman.
What an uncivilized custom, putting that horrible powder in his nose. However, let's continue. Here are some huge metal wheels with the heads of men and women engraved on them.
Those are my coins.
I'm in difficulties. I'm all caught up in an enormous stretch of cloth, big enough to serve as a carpet in His Majesty's banquet hall.
Oh, that must be my handkerchief.
Oh, something else for his nose. He's very careful about his nose, isn't he?
Yeah, look at this. This is a most peculiar machine.
Put your ear close to it. Can you hear it go tick-tock, tick-tock?
It makes as much noise as a watermill.
That's my oracle. I rarely do anything without consulting it.
It must be the god he worships.
Have you finished going through his pockets yet?
Yes, Your Majesty. But if we have to draw up an inventory of all these objects...
Put it all on the ground. Prisoner, we shall have to take your sword.
As you wish, Your Majesty. I'll just whirl it around my head a little so that you can hear the sound it makes.
Gentlemen, remember your dignity. Prisoner, do you mind telling me what those huge hollow metal columns are that are hanging by your side?
I will show you, of course, Your Majesty. Everybody's lying flat on the ground. Even the king doesn't seem able to overcome his emotion.
Oh, that's the most terrible device. Hand it over straight away. Let it be taken away to the deepest cellars of the palace. Guards, let 2 of the strongest of you take a pole on your shoulders and take away the tick-tock machine to the palace. It will amuse the queen and the ladies of the court.
I remained a prisoner for a fairly long time. I did my best to be as nice as possible to the little creatures who came in greater numbers daily to watch my habits. My good behavior was appreciated by everyone, and little by little they became used to me. Sometimes I used to lie down on the ground and let 5 or 6 of them dance on my hand. And finally, the little boys and girls just used to play hide-and-seek in my hair. One day, the Admiral, Siresh Bolgolam, who seemed proud to be my mortal enemy, came to see me.
You are going to be set at liberty, but there are certain conditions that you must obey. Let me read you what His Majesty has decided. First condition, the Man Mountain must not leave the kingdom without our permission. Second condition. He must not walk anywhere save on the main roads. He must not lie down in our meadows or our fields. Third condition. He must be very careful not to walk upon the citizens of Lilliput, nor upon their horses, nor their carts. He must not pick anybody up without permission. Fourth condition. He must be our ally against our enemies from Blefuscu, and he must do everything in his power to wipe out their fleet, which is being prepared at the moment to destroy us.
I accept these conditions.
Very well. Now, hold your right foot in your left hand, put the middle finger of your right hand on the top of your head, and your thumb on the tip of your right ear, and swear.
There. I swear to respect these conditions.
Let the prisoner be freed.
And since I'm now freed, I should like very much to visit the capital of your kingdom.
His Majesty is ready to grant your request, but wait until I have made certain arrangements. Guards, put warning system number 1 into action.
Very good, Your Highness.
Watch out for the Man Mountain. Citizens of Lilliput, leave the high road, take your horses and carts into your yards, leave the public squares. The Man Mountain is coming.
You can go now, sir. Our herald has cleared the way. But watch out.
I know what precautions I must take. Would you like to come with me on my shoulders, Admiral?
Oh, no, thank you very much indeed. In any case, you're being watched very closely. The Lord High Commissioner for Home Safety is already in your pocket.
Oh, Lord High Commissioner, don't hide yourself like that. Come and be my guide. Take me to the capital of Lilliput. My word, it is a beautiful town. Simple design, but very beautiful indeed. It's in the form of a square, and it has 2 main streets which divide it into 4. Everybody is on the roofs of their houses or in their attics. There's a large crowd. There must be at least 500,000 people.
There are 503,476 registered citizens. Oh, good heavens. When I'm on your shoulder, I'm higher than the roof of the Royal Academy. The rector of the Academy will be very annoyed when he hears this.
So the tallest building is the Royal Academy. Learning is very much respected in this country, I see. But at the crossroads, there's an even larger building. It comes almost up to my chin.
That's the Royal Palace.
I must have a look at that. What a wonderful, ornate building. What a luxurious place. Crimson velvet armchairs, gold hangings. There's a throne studded with marvelous stones. The king is there, but what's going on? Is there a circus in the throne room?
Oh, that is not a circus, sir.
But I can see tightrope walkers performing on a rope that's stretched on the ground.
Those are not tightrope walkers, sir. Those are ministers.
Ministers?
Oh, yes, sir. In our country, anyone who is aiming at an important post learns how to walk a tightrope when he's very young. When a post is vacant, 5 or 6 candidates perform on the rope, and the one who jumps the highest obtains the post.
But I've seen some of them fall 2 or 3 times, and they're going back to try again.
Ah, they want to show the king just how skillful they are, because there's going to be a war with Blefuscu soon, and each one wants to command the army.
That's very strange. But who are the people eating hard-boiled eggs? Are they ministers as well?
They're special ministers. They're practicing eating eggs by the small end in order to teach people how to do it later.
What?
Eggs are terrible things. 6 revolts, peasant revolts, treachery, civil strife.
Revolts, civil strife? But what about?
Eggs, of course. People used to eat them by breaking them at the big end first. But the present king's father once cut his finger doing this when he was a boy. Thereupon his father, the emperor, gave the order that his subjects should break their eggs at the little end from that day onwards.
I see.
But the people didn't understand the reason for this very well. And there were plots and counterplots, and a number of people went into exile in Blefuscu.
But is that serious?
Serious? Our spies have told us that the exiles have formed a huge fleet to come and besiege Lilliput. We are desperately in need of your help.
Now I understand why I've been set free. It will be my duty to defend the king of this country against invaders.
ladies and gentlemen, I have here a special authorization from His Majesty to relate to you the exploits of our guest, the Man Mountain, who has just set out all alone to fight against the Blefuscudian fleet in its own home port. I have taken up a position on a small hill just outside Lilliput, and with a pair of powerful binoculars, I can just see the Blefuscudian port quite easily. It's about 150 glumfumps from here. A few yards, according to our guest. I can see him now. He's swimming towards Blefuscu. He's within shooting range of the Blefuscudian fleet. He's not taking the trouble to shield himself. He's going straight on. The enemy sailors have seen him. What are they going to do? Oh, they've launched a fierce salvo of arrows against him. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. Our Man Mountain's going to be killed. But no, he's just coming into port. He's getting out of the water. He's 3 times as tall as the biggest of their 3 masters. All the enemy sailors are in flight now. They're leaving their ships and heading for shore. Ladies and gentlemen, they have abandoned their ships. The Blefuscudian fleet is ours. But how's he going to take the ships? I can't see very well. Just a minute. That's better. I can see the Man Mountain. He's tying all the ropes together on the prows of the ships. Oh, this is terrible. My friends, this is terrible. The enemy sailors have formed up again on the shore. They fired another murderous salvo of arrows at him. Can the Man Mountain's courage last out? He's cut all the mooring ropes now. And, ladies and gentlemen, this is sensational. Hooray! 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 Our Man Mountain's pulling all the boats behind him. Citizens of Lilliput, you can be proud of our guest today. He's bringing the enemy's bastions of the sea to our own country.
Have shown yourself worthy of our people. I hereby appoint you to the post of Grand Nardak in my kingdom. Together we shall accomplish many things.
I am your Majesty's most humble servant.
Our superiority over Blefuscu is no longer in doubt. We will force these troublesome, treacherous people to give in. And all my subjects, both in Lilliput and Blefuscu, will break their eggs at the little end.
Your Majesty, I deeply regret to inform you that I shall never take part in forcing a free people into such slavery. This refusal on my part aroused the king's anger against me. The king's counselors, too, were angry at the thought of losing all the important positions in the enemy country. A plot was quickly hatched, and Bolgolam was its instigator.
It's treachery pure and simple. The Man Mountain is plotting against us with the Blefuscudians.
He must have the supreme punishment.
Don't let's act hastily, gentlemen. Bolgolam is perhaps a little jealous because the Man Mountain captured the enemy fleet without coming for help and advice.
I am not in the least bit jealous, but I have learned from a reliable source that we have been betrayed.
Yes, the conversations he had with the delegates from Blefuscu who came to discuss peace are proof enough.
And don't forget he refused to carry on a war with the Blefuscudians.
Death to the traitor!
Death to the traitor! Death to the traitor! Death to the traitor! Death to the traitor! Death to the traitor!
Fortunately, I had become friendly with Redriesel, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he, at the peril of his life, came to warn me of decisions that had been taken at this secret meeting of the Great Council. He earnestly entreated me to flee, and I did so immediately. I went as quickly as I could to Blefuscu and asked for asylum there. The King of Blefuscu welcomed me in the kindest possible way.
Welcome, dear sir, welcome. You struck a terrible blow against us when you destroyed our fleet, but you have obviously understood that it is better to be our ally than our enemy. Together we shall accomplish many things. We shall take our revenge on Lilliput, and all my subjects in Lilliput and Blefuscu shall break their eggs at the big end.
I was caught in a trap. I didn't want to be instrumental in creating unhappiness in either of these kingdoms, so I began to consider the problem of how to get back to my own country. I had a stroke of luck. One day I was walking along the coast and I came across a small boat that had obviously been torn off a ship during a storm. And so, on the 24th of September, 1701, I set sail towards where I imagined Van Diemen's Land to be. After I'd sailed 3 days without seeing any land or any vessel, I caught sight of a sail on the horizon. I waved as hard as I could in order to attract attention. The ship turned out to be one of His Majesty's fleet. I was saved. But what a size the sailors were that took me back on their ship to my own country.